let's try the onion. This is one of the most annoying things in the world to cut, onions. So I'm going to show you the proper way to dice an onion. This is something, by the way, that I recently learned how to do the right way, and it's so much easier than what I used to do. So, a couple key things. The first thing you want to do when you're cutting an onion, when you're dicing an onion, okay, is you want to cut the stem off, not the core, but the stem. So you want to cut the stem off. You want to leave the core part of it intact because that's what holds everything together. Okay. Now, after you cut the stem off, you want to set it up, and you want to slice right through the core. Slice it in half. Again, you could use the high technique to slice through it. You don't need to push through it in one. Go ahead.
I forget how to do this. You want me to change?
There you go. Just go ahead and push. Perfect. So it's just like this. Yep. So you just kind of slice your way through it. So, okay. Then it gives you the opportunity to peel off the skin. So get the dead skin off. When it comes to making you cry, it's the juices in the onion that squirt up in your eyes. So two things, doing it the right technique-wise helps out quite a bit. And then secondly, a sharp knife makes a huge difference because when you use a dull knife, it squishes it instead of cutting it. And when you squish it, that's when everything comes up in your face. And that's not fun. Okay, now if you want a finer cut, what you can do is do like a bagel cut through this before you dice it. If you don't care that much, then you can just dice away, okay? But let's do just so you guys can practice it. Take the onion. It doesn't matter which one you use. You can do both. You can use one of them. Take the onion and put it on the end of the cutting board, okay? And you want to put your hand on top or use your fingers. You don't want to do this, okay? That'll turn a white onion into a red onion real fast, all right? So you kind of hold your fingers on top. And you do what I call the bagel cut, which, again, you want to cut all the way through, but don't cut past the core. So you just want to kind of do some slices back and forth, but make sure you leave it intact. There you go. Work the knife back and forth. That's cool. And if you want to do more than one, you can do that. That's fine. It's not really all necessary to do more than one most of the time because it's already pretty fine inside there. Now, if you want to make onions for like sauteing, and you want to, you want strips, then you don't need to cut it anymore. In fact, you don't even need to do that. If you want to cut into strips that you're going to then, caramelize or something, then you just kind of use the low technique on it. However, if you're going to, and you cut the core, the last part. For the dicing purposes, what you want to do is before you finish dicing, is you want to make some cuts this way into the onion. But again, leave the stem intact. So again, in this case, you can again use the high technique where you just kind of slice it into it. Okay, and then the last part is you turn it sideways again. And in this case, again, you want to let the knife do the work. Okay, so you want to cut into it and then down. Cut into it and then push. So you're doing like a push technique here where you're cutting into it and then pushing down. If you just push straight into it, you're chancing squirtage and it's going to get in your eyes. So in this case, you just cut down through it and you get nice diced onion rings. Don't touch your eyes when you have onions on it, or you will cry instantly. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
So that's how you cut an onion. That's how you dice an onion. Okay, what do you guys think? You think pretty handy so far?
Yeah.
Okay, let's clear our heads and notice and everything else. Woo! Everybody awake now from all that? Okay. Let's clean off the cutting board so we get the onion off there, because we're not going to make our cucumber salad. And then, yeah, I would use a paper towel afterwards to. Don't worry about cleaning them out. Oh yeah, I guess if you're going to use those same knives after the onions, it's probably not a bad idea to wipe those down either. I'm going to dry it after that. All right. Garlic sticky. Thank you, sir. You're very welcome. Let's share. These we may want to use if you don't like the radishes. You don't like what we add. Here's a spoon for you. For the stuff. Okay. What we're going to do, and you guys all have a recipe card, so we're just going to follow the recipe. So really simple. Everybody gets 2 cucumbers. It says 4 small or 2 ginormous cucumbers. Okay, so grab the peeler. Let's peel these guys. Nice thing about the Cutco peeler is you can just peel one stroke. Yeah, the mixing bowl everything's going to end up in there, so you can just peel right under the cutting board, and then it's easy to just throw right in the. So this peeler's sweet. How many of you guys have one of these?
I think we do.
Yeah, this thing's crazy. My mom's favorite piece still to this day.
It is nice.
Yeah, you can cut forward, you can cut backward. It has a little shovel in the nose of it, so if you get a bad spot, you can just dig out the eyes of the potatoes and stuff like that. It's sharp and it cuts thin, so it doesn't dig real deep. Anything that's grown in the ground has most of the nutrients near the skin. So when you cut thick chunks of, like, especially if you're doing something like a carrot or something, it takes all the nutrients away, or a lot of them. When you cut real thin, it leaves them there. All right. Isn't it nice you can do it in one stroke without having to fight it? It's been so long since I used another peeler, but I still remember how bad they are. And you see what Aaron's doing? That's another technique. You can hold it up and just
Oh.
You guys are perfectionists. Look at you. Okay. So after you get it peeled, what we want to do is we want to cut them down the, well, yeah, cut the ends off. Again, you can use the high technique for that. So basically, again, the high technique is you're just pushing and allowing the blade to slice through without the blade really rubbing on the counter. And then do the same thing as you want to cut them down the middle. Use the high technique, so you're kind of slicing as you go. So you hold the blade up and you just kind of slice it as you go through it. This time, Jamie, cut in, use more.
This high technique. I want to do everything in the low technique.
That's okay. What you're doing, you're just.
Oh, I'm not a shot.
No, that's okay. Instead of starting with it up here, you're trying to do everything. Start maybe with a little bit more of the blade in the center, so that you can cut into it a little bit more up here. Because if you start here and you don't get it, then you're just fighting it the whole way. So if you start down here, you can push in a little bit more down there, and it just makes it easier as you come back. So take it and push into it. There you go.
So it's sort of like the low technique.
It's sort of, yeah.
Middle type, yeah.
The middle technique.
The
There.
other thing is, if you plant your blade like that, and you get leverage because you have something to push against. If you're not,
For what we're doing though, you don't want to necessarily do that. Not when you're doing this kind of technique. That's one way to do it. But the hard part about that is you then have to control the food and keep it from moving around. So with the high technique, the purpose of it is to have a little more freedom of your blade.
Okay.
You don't want the nose down
Just
because
like
then
you leverage that way.
you
on
do.
something big.
It's just with something like when you're trying to cut it in half like that, it's just a little bit, the proper technique is to kind of cut as you go.
Okay.
Now, one of the cool things about the ice cream scoop is you can also take seeds out of stuff like this. You just kind of move it back and forth, and it just seeds stuff really easily. So you can take the ice cream scoop, as soon as I get mine down. Pumpkins, it works awesome on,
Yes.
get in the middle of the pumpkin out. So you just kind of take it.
Hello, hi guys.
Good.
Depending how messy you want to be, you can just pull it, or you can kind of maneuver it back and forth. I just tried that for the first time today. I was like, whoa, this is way easier than I thought it was going to be. Yeah. More uses for the ice cream scoop, not just for ice cream anymore. There you go. That's easy.
You just muscle through it.
That's right.
Nice to meet you.
Yes.
Thanks.
While those are finishing up, we need a quarter cup of olive oil, or I'm sorry, half cup of olive oil. And then we need a quarter cup. And this is rice wine vinegar, or just rice vinegar. That's for the olive oil. So you want a half cup of the olive oil, which is right there next to it. It's going this way.
Everybody needs
Sure.
one. Do you want me to do?
Thanks.
Which part of it? Bring it over to mine.
And everybody got the vinegar, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now what we need to do is chop up our cucumbers, and they're supposed to be in half moons. So if you chop off the ends there, that way you don't get just big chunks in there. You end up with little half moons. Okay. And then in this case, I'm going to use the low technique. It's easier if you put them seed side down on the cutting board so that they're flat and they won't fight you, they won't rock around. And again, you can use the low technique for this. Whichever knife you prefer. In fact, you might want to vary them and use a couple different ones to see which one you like best.
We throw one.
Yep. And then as you're going to chop, they're going to end up in the bowl. The other nice thing about the Santoku knife is that it's wider. So when you're transferring stuff, it holds on to more. Looks like that's getting a little more comfortable for you, Jamie. Is it feeling better?
Yeah, 'cause that's what I can do.
Nice.
That high one, I still don't understand.
Well, you finally got the motion going in the right direction. That makes all the difference in the world. guys are almost pros. How's that feeling, Janet? You more comfortable?
Yes.
And then the last part of this salad are the radishes. It calls for a half a cup, which I measured out as about 3 of these earlier. So now there's 2 different ways that you can do the radishes. You can do them in slices and use the slicing knife to slice as thin as you like. So this will cut it really thin. So that's why these are out, if you'd like to grab one of these. The other thing that you can do is use the chopping knives, but again, you just gotta be really careful and kind of go slow. So you can just press straight down. If you'd like to try the slicing knife again, just grab one. If anybody else wants, you can use this one.
So this one you actually slice, like normal slice.
Yep. Again, this was really, it's difficult to do with the chef's knife, chopping knives. So it's a little bit easier if you use the slicing knife or trimmer. But for those who are comfortable with the chef's knife, you can cut thin.
Ours has had its home in its knife block for about 20 years.
Yeah.
Haven't gotten out too much.
Your trimmer?
No, this.
Oh, the
Yeah.
chef's knife. Hopefully you can start playing with it now.
Yeah.
The nice thing about the chopping knives is it just saves so much time. Because otherwise you just have to cut everything piece by piece by
Right.
piece. And especially if you're dicing something, cutting onions like that takes forever. Cutting potatoes into little cubes like we did just takes forever.
What's that?
And then after you get the radishes in there, you just kind of toss them around, everything around in the bowl. And then you can salt and pepper to taste, to your preferences. So I gave you these spoons if you want to kind of mix them up. And now you got a nice little simple cucumber salad. Watch your finger there, Pete. There you go. You get real thin. Look at you.
Plant your point, like you were saying. Plant your
Yeah,
point.
Again, with something like this, it actually works against you.
yeah, I tried that, and
Yeah.
you gotta go through
So
it.
you see what I mean? When you plant the point, it just
Yeah.
it takes some of the control. You have to control the food. So with something that's this is just a simple recipe that they gave us. So you guys can obviously vary different things, but it's real simple. And then there might be a little bit more than will fit in here. So fill it up as much as you can. And take one look at that. Thank you. You're welcome. Any questions about anything? Well, we do have a special for tonight. With any of the chopping knives, if anybody gets any of the chopping knives, you get a free cutting board with it. We're also doing, if anybody wants to get the, any two of the knives, any of the two knives we highlighted as far as the chopping knives, you can get either any of the paring knives or a trimmer for free. So we're doing buy two, get one free with the chef's knives with the stuff we highlighted today.
What was the price on the ice cream scoop?
The ice cream scoop's only $39. And I could do that free with one of the other knives as well.
What was that?
I said with any of these, if you wanted the ice cream scoop, I could do that for free instead of the trimmer if you got the two.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, it's a little full, so there's a little bit more than will fit. So just be careful, there's that oil stuff that busts open on that. Just be careful. And whatever's extra, will come out of station, I'll give to whomever is around. Tastes a little bit better with salt and pepper, but it's pretty tasty, isn't
I'm not salting and peppering it until Mama gets a chance.
it? Good call. All right, cool. Well, if there's anything else, let me know if anybody wants anything. Obviously,
The deal.
Yeah.
How much was that?
that one's 34. This thing is awesome.
Thanks a lot, man.
No problem.
Nice job. Did you take work?
I hope so. It seems to be recording. We don't know if it has sound yet.